Point Alliance and Kevin Doig. Thank you for joining the webinar this morning. The topic is Sitefinity CMS, making your life easier. So Kevin Doig is one of our web solution architects. Here at Point Alliance, we do a lot of website, extranet, intranet work, and get exposed to a lot of different CMSs. Again, predominantly Microsoft.NET based, and one of those products is Sitefinity CMS, now owned by Progress. So, again, I will turn it over to Kevin momentarily. Again, CMS, of course, stands for Content Management Solutions or Systems. And again, the whole point of web CMSs is to make the business users' life easier, allowing them to manage and maintain the web content so as to not have to involve IT, leaving IT really to maintain the web infrastructure from a server perspective and operating system and backup. And then from a website perspective, again, the marketing and communications department can manage the website on their own. So Kevin's going to give us a little overview on this CMS, what it looks like, how you use it, and then how widgets and modules sort of fit together into a page template that you can then enter your content into. So without further ado, I will turn this over to Kevin Doig.
Okay, thank you. So first off, a little bit of a Point Alliance overview. We're based in Toronto, founded in 2002. And as Jonathan mentioned, we specialize in innovative web, collaborative, and mobile solutions. We're partnered with industry leaders. We are a Microsoft Gold certified partner. And we have in-depth industry knowledge spanning different industries, so not-for-profit associations, media, healthcare, education, financial services, and property management, to name a few. So a quick Sitefinity overview. Sitefinity CMS is a content management system that you can use to create, store, manage, and present content on your website. Content and pages in Sitefinity are multilingual, and you can use one Sitefinity CMS instance to manage multiple sites that can share content. Sitefinity is also developer-friendly, so you can utilize existing widgets or modules that come out of the box with Sitefinity, and there's quite a few, which then you can customize and style appropriately, or you can create your own widgets and modules using either web forms or MVC. Later on in the demo, I'm actually going to walk through creating a very basic MVC module and dropping that onto a new page template. So the Sitefinity components, and this is just a basic high-level overview, but you have pages and page templates. Then you have your built-in and dynamic modules. You have widgets and widget templates, and then you have content items. So a content item will feed up into a widget or a module, and the modules are placed onto either pages or page templates. And the page templates would span multiple pages. You can see here's a graphic of the Sitefinity application architecture. So you can see at the top we have, your web client, any digital asset management you might have, so video or images. Thunder, which is actually a Sitefinity plugin for development, and then any other third-party apps. So as requests come in from a browser, you can see on this services level, we have your HTTP handlers. There's a number of REST services and WCF services that reside within Sitefinity. Sitefinity also has a workflow and publishing service. So certain users may not have access to publish, but can edit content, which then goes through an approval process before getting published onto the site. Some built-in system services include notifications, search, comments, statistics, personalization, geolocation, recycle bin, etc. As well as scheduling. So you could also schedule content to go out on a certain day, a certain hour, and then actually have that content be unpublished at a certain time as well. So then within Sitefinity, we have a number of managers. So these would be your page manager, libraries manager, events manager, news manager, and things like that. And this is a little bit of a technical diagram, so I'll just kind of skip past this one. So I mentioned Sitefinity Thunder. Thunder is a Visual Studio add-on that allows developers to easily add components, so like new widgets and templates, into their Visual Studio solution. So Sitefinity out of the box can be implemented with very little custom code, or as much custom code as you would prefer. You can see here's an image of the basic Sitefinity dashboard. So you can, this is a customizable dashboard, but you can see there's spots for, recent blog posts that may come up, any of your content that you may have done. If I'm a approver of content, I would see, content in here that other people may have edited, that's ready to be published to the site that I would review first and then publish that out. You can also see I can manage my users, upload photos in here, create a new page, create a new form, create a new blog entry, etc. This would be your Sitefinity page listing, the next section. You can see here I've basically created a new instance of Sitefinity for this demo, and I've created just one home page, which is in draft mode, so not published yet, not available, but we'll walk through actually setting that page up. Sitefinity also has a media library, so you can upload images, you can upload videos, any PDF documents that you want, as well as categorize and tag that content. Within Sitefinity as well, there's a built-in image editor for cropping, rotating, resizing images, and things like that you may not want to do outside, like in Photoshop, for instance. Now for the demo, what I want to do is actually create a new page template within Sitefinity, and then create an MVC widget with some basic properties, so like a title and a description or something like that you might want to drop onto a page. We'll create a new controller, view, and model for the widget using Thunder, and then we'll populate the widget and place that onto a page. So let's get to it. So I'm just going to load up. I have a blank. Here's my Visual Studio instance, and you can see just out of the box, this is what Sitefinity kind of gives you right here. So there's an MVC section here. You can see controller, views, and models. So first off, we're going to start by creating a new template. So if we go into our design here, you can see we have a lot of page templates available to us. I'll just give this a few minutes to build again. So these are all the built-in templates that come with Sitefinity, and you can see we have a one-column header and footer. And these are all kind of bootstrap type templates, one with a left sidebar and content, one with a left sidebar header footer. So what we're going to do is actually create a custom template for us in Visual Studio using Thunder. So with the Thunder extension, we can actually just right-click on App Data and go to Add and a New Item. And we have the Sitefinity here. So Sitefinity website template, we're going to call this Custom Template. And it created a new folder for us, Website Templates, Custom Template. The template comes with a theme that you can customize, so it gives you your CSS options here. So we have a layout and a reset CSS, as well as a master page. So it's important to note that Sitefinity is actually web forms based, although it does allow for an MVC patterned type module to be created, which is what we will do. So if we take a look at the master page here, we have a couple placeholders. So we have a header placeholder, a content placeholder, and a footer placeholder. Again, we could modify this. We could add another style sheet. We can do whatever we want in here. We're just going to keep it basic right now. So now if I rebuild the project, so the build succeeded. We can go back into Sitefinity and actually refresh our page template, and we'll see the custom template added in here. Now, the one thing to note too is actually when you do rebuild the Sitefinity source code solution, you get this initializing message the first time. It can take up to about 30 seconds or so. So while that's refreshing, we can go back into Visual Studio. And using Thunder, again, we'll actually add a new MVC widget. So we'll add a new item. And now you can see Sitefinity, we have a lot of different options here. So the one we want to do is actually add a Sitefinity MVC widget with Designer. We'll call this, content widget. And we're going to leave the designer off for now because we want to actually put our properties onto the controller first before adding a new designer. So you can see here it's actually created a content widget controller for us, a content widget model, and a content widget view. So what we'll do is actually in the controller first here, let's get rid of the scaffolded stuff that they do. So we have our index action result, and let's add a couple options to our model here. So let's just create a widget that shows a title and a description. So that's our model. Now in the controller, we're going to put a couple public properties here as well, just to match the title. And description. Now, obviously, most widgets are going to be a bit more complex than this, but for the purposes of this demo, this will get the point across. So we're going to take these values and populate our model and then pass our model into our view. So now these actually will get set via the widget's designer, which we will add shortly here. So now into our view, you can see we're passing in our content widget model. And let's do an H1 tag with our model.title. And then below that, we can display in a paragraph our model.description. Now, if we flip back to Sitefinity, we'll actually go into our pages. And again, let this rebuild. So I've started out with creating a homepage in draft mode. So again, I have some actions in here. I can set this as my homepage, which I'm going to go ahead and do. We can edit the content. We can edit the title and properties, as well as permissions of who can see this, revision history, so on and so forth. So let's just look at the title and properties of this page first. You can see this is the name. We can add this under a parent page if we had one. Right now it's the only page. We can also enable multiple URLs if we wanted to have some current, like say you have some SEO stuff you want to do. And then the option to show in navigation or not. We don't have a navigation module on here, so we'll leave it for now. Again, some meta information and some advanced caching stuff. So we'll go ahead and save these changes and then go into edit the content of this page. So you can see here I've just used a, if we flip to the layout here, you can see we're using a right sidebar header footer. At this point we could select another template. It doesn't look like our new custom template has popped up, but that's okay. We can continue to use this one. Oh, actually, here we go. Use our own master file. So now we can browse into our Sitefinity website template that we created. Here we go. So there's our custom template with our header, placeholder, content, and footer. So these are a lot of the built-in modules that we can add within Sitefinity here on the right. You can see we have everything from a content block, which would just be basic HTML that we could put in. We'll go ahead and just put some stuff in here. This is a content block. And save that, and you can see that that content pops up here. We can drag images, image galleries, news listing, which would pull from our news content, and so on. There's quite a few other ones. So navigation, we talked about dropping in a navigation bar. You could edit this. So you can say we want to display the top level pages. You know, certain pages, we can select a new kind of different template for it. We also have some, you can pull in external data sources, add custom CSS to a page, custom JavaScript, your Google Analytics, built-in login, logout, change password, user profile registration, etc. We have some social ones, so like Facebook like, sharing pages, Twitter feeds, Twitter widgets, built-in search results. You can list all your categories and tags that you have throughout the site. We also have email campaigns, so subscribe, unsubscribe, and then e-commerce here as well. So what we want to do here is actually, if we go back into our solution, you can see that we've given this a content widget, title content widget, and section. We're going to call this custom. Now, we'll have to rebuild this again because we're modifying the controller. And when we give this another refresh, actually first we're going to just publish this page. So when we refresh, what we'll actually see on the right-hand side is a section called Custom with our MVC widget underneath it. And again, we just have to wait for Sitefinity to rebuild at this point. There we go. Okay, so now we have our custom section down here with our new content widget. Let's go ahead and drag that content widget up here. Now, to start, you can see we're going to edit, and it actually gives us a built-in description, a built-in designer based on the two public properties that are part of the controller. If we wanted to, say, create a custom one, so like for instance, if we had we want to have an image as part of the content widget as well, we can add a custom designer to this just under views, and you would right click and go to add. We're going to add a new item again. And you can see under Sitefinity, we can add a designer for an existing widget. And we'll just call this designer. So what happens now when I click next, it's actually going to go through the components that we've created within Sitefinity and look for any controllers that don't have a designer associated with them. There we go. So there's our content widget controller. Next. And you can see these are available fields. So we're going to go and add a title, any instructional text, enter a title, add that to the designer. We'll say a description and enter a description. Add that. Next. designer successfully created. So you can see here it's actually added 3 files for us. It's added a ASCX file with our labels and text boxes. It's added a designer control designer, and then a JavaScript file as well. So now if we rebuild this, and actually first off too, now you can see here in the controller toolbox, it's now associated itself with that new content widget designer right here. So again, we'll rebuild this. And refresh this page. So you remember what the last designer looked like. It was just a description and title. This will still be a description and title, but allows us to actually customize the form. So we could come in and actually use the ASCX file here and add, whatever else we want into this section. For instance, we could change this text box into a rich text editor, for instance, to accept HTML input. Okay, so now if we edit this, you'll notice the designer is actually going to look a little bit different. So there you go, title and description, and there's our helpful hints. So we're going to go, this is our title, this is our description. We'll save that, and then this is generated by the view that we created in the project, right here. So let's just modify this. Let's just give this a style. I'm not sure if the H1 is actually doing anything, so we'll just go font weight, bold, font size, 24. Save that. We don't need to recompile because we just changed the view. So let's go ahead and publish this page now. And we can actually preview the page. We can, right here. Actually, let's just load it up this way. So we've set this as the home page. So actually this, we don't need to actually specify /home. There you go. So you can see that's our content block. That's a built-in CMS module with Sitefinity, and then we have our view here. So this is our title. We put it in bold, 24 pixels, and then our description down here after a couple paragraph tags. And that's basically how you walk through, or sorry, that's how you set up a very basic MVC widget. Some of these can get a little bit more complex. For instance, pulling in images, pulling in content from these sections here, like news, events, images, video. You can also create your own specific type of content as well, which I can show you here as well. So if we go into news, let's create a news item quickly. So this is a built-in object here. So news entry. So this is our news. You can see we can flip to HTML here if we felt so. We can add a summary to this. Then we have our categories and tags. So news, we'll add a new tag. We can add a new category. Let's say this is Canadian news. We'll publish that item. So that's our one news entry. Now, if we go back to actually the home page, and I'll show you guys how we can just pull this news entry into a listing. So under content, we have just looking for the news listing. Here it is, right here. I'm going to drag this module in. And you can see it's actually going to display our news entry right there. So publish this. And we can refresh our home page. And there's our news entry. Built-in commenting already. And there's our news entry right there. There's our summary, there's our news. Very simple. So with the built-in modules, basically what you would just need to do is make sure that you style these how you want. Any custom functionality that you may want to do, it's somewhat easier just to kind of create a new module from scratch. But these are good basics for creating your first site with news listings, news entries, things like that. The blog works exactly the same. We could go in here and create a new blog entry or a new event, and then within the page go and drag the blog listing and the event listing as well. And I think that about wraps it up. So thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you have any questions, I'll just actually take a look and see if there is. No questions? Sounds good. All right, thank you very much.